Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Hall. You may call me Dr. Kennard. This is the Disappointed Cat Morning Show, where we look at the news cycle through a secular lens. What are the stories we're covering today? Corgis, of course, one of the great Corgi races. We're going to take a look at Corgis and the Corgi race. Why? Because this is the rest of the news cycle right here. Breakthrough infections. Doctors in Florida. We're going to talk about doctors in Florida, the California recall, and corgis, and a self-driving car. That's what we're doing here on the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. Let's do something funny, something satirical, maybe something a little skeptical too.
Hey, excuse me. I love your car. What do you do for a living?
Hey, my name's Peter. I'm a spokesman for the Birds Aren't Real movement. Right now I'm just traveling the country in this van, holding rallies and spreading the feathered gospel.
And what is the feathered gospel?
The feathered gospel states that from 1959 through 2001, the United States government replaced every living bird in the skies with a surveillance drone replica that looks just like a real bird. They're probably watching us have this conversation right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
Thanks, man.
Birds aren't real, everyone. That's the newest conspiracy theory. Of course, this is just a group of satirists making fun of conspiracy theories. But they're doing the Lord's work. I'm going to check out the chat and see how chat's doing. This is going to the doghouse. That's the show. Actually, I got fed up with the news cycle, with all the... I'm just scrolling through my news feed yesterday and this morning going COVID. And I'm like, I need corgis. And so I found a corgi race. John Hudson, second day of kindergarten. I will act like I pooped my pants so I can get a hall pass to check in on the show. It sounds like a plan, John Hudson. And thank you, Robert X, because particularly in the beginning of the show, I asked people to smash the like button and to subscribe. I appreciate it. Grant Farmer says Iron is the only good corgi. If you don't know who Iron is, he's referring to the corgi from Cowboy Bebop, the classic anime from, I believe, the 90s. And there's a live action version of Cowboy Bebop dropping in Netflix, I believe, in November. I'm looking forward to it. What's up, Tobin? Hope you're doing okay. Dee Parks, it's a good morning so far. I woke up a little bit later than usual. In other words, I got a good night's sleep, so I'm a little bit less coordinated, a little bit less organized than I usually am. Dr. Mordecai. Oh, Dr. Mordecai, Impossible Rebellion Day 3. That's right. He's talking about, of course, in Extinction Rebellion. They're doing their rebellion against fossil fuel industries, against global climate crisis. Scott Duke, good morning, sir. Jenna, Black Female Atheist, good morning. Tesla Ranger. I've seen people who take that Birds Aren't Real stuff seriously. Well, that's the thing about satire and comedy, Tesla Ranger, is that some people are going to take it seriously. Some people, and those are the people that may be getting a good lesson, right? When their friends, families go, hey, birds are birds. Good morning, Simply Secular Dave. Hope you're doing okay. All right. You have a Birds Real t-shirt, D? That sounds pretty awesome, to tell you the truth. I just want to let you all know, I know that you're wondering whether or not what the status is of the googly eyes for microphone here. Well, they have been ordered. The googly eyes have been ordered through Amazon. I decided not to go into a store. I decided that it's just far easier for me just to order googly eyes from Amazon. So the googly eyes should be appearing at my doorstep on Thursday, and hopefully, if all goes well, on Friday, microphone will have a set of eyes. We'll see what happens. All right. We did something funny. We went over the new. Well, let's do. You want to do memes? We should do memes, right? A couple of fun memes before we start talking about Oh, breakthrough infections. Yeah. I wanna have some chuckles. That's what I want before talking about breakthrough infections. Dogs aren't even allowed to hang out with other dogs if they don't have all their shots. See, now if people didn't get vaccinated, they shouldn't be hanging out with other people, right? Doesn't that make sense, everyone? Doesn't that make sense? I think it makes sense. Oh, this is great. I don't know if you know this story. This is a real news story about hundreds gather at a church for a blessing ceremony for AR-15s. It was in the news. I don't know, maybe a year ago. I don't remember. But yeah, these are Christians and not Satanists. And the Church of Satan's like, hey, leave us out of your craziness. Want nothing to do with it. And the last me before we start talking about breakthrough infections of COVID-19 right here. Everything happens for a reason. Sometimes the reason is you're stupid and make bad decisions. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. I can at the very least talk about personal experiences that a lot of the bad things that have happened to me have been through my own stupid decisions. All right, here we go. Hey, Sammy. I hope you're doing well. Oh, yes. I do have merch. That's right, Dee Parks. See, I'm horrible at promoting everything that I do. But yeah, I have t-shirts, I have mugs, stuff like that. Yeah, it's stores down there in the description. And of course, Jessi Bear, glad to see you. All right. It's time to get serious, everyone. Oh, did I mention? I guess I should say an announcement that this morning I've been, microphone. I've been kind of, once I start something, everyone, I get a little compulsive about it, especially since I'm not working right now. I don't have a 9-to-5 job. So my mind just starts gravitating towards these things. And one of them is weight loss right now. And I know that's not healthy, microphone. Losing 7 pounds in 5 days, probably not that healthy, right? But I've been following the Weight Watchers plan. And yeah, most of the weight's gone. Is probably water weight. I am in one of my less fat shirts right now. If you gained weight and lost weight, you probably have 3 categories of clothing, right? You have the fat clothes, you have your quote unquote normal weight clothes, and then you have your thin clothes. I am currently out of my fat clothes, and I'm now in my moderate weight clothes. Well, this is a moderate weight shirt that I have on right now. Will I be in my thin clothes at some point? Maybe, possibly within the next few weeks. We'll see what happens. You've lost 16 since March. Good job, Lee. Good job. And to tell you the truth, one of the reasons I feel I need to get in shape for Delta, that's one of the reasons, and I'm going to be honest with you all, is that one of the reasons why I'm dropping weight is that I want to get in shape in case I get the Delta variant, even though I'm fully vaccinated, even though I'm probably going to be getting, a booster shot pretty soon. I just want to feel like I'm in the best shape I can be in case I get infected. And that is a segue. That is a segue for what? The first story, everyone. U.S. data shows rising breakthrough infections among fully vaccinated. Reuters, some 25% of SARS-CoV-2 infections among LA County residents occurred in fully vaccinated residents from May through July 25th, a period that includes the impact of the highly transmissible Delta variant, U.S. officials reported on Tuesday. So that's 25% of infections to be breakthrough infections. That sounds... See, it isn't as bad as it sounds, everyone. Because we know that the vaccines protect us from getting sick to begin with, right? From getting COVID. But the vaccine, in case we do get COVID, it lessens the symptoms. A friend of mine got COVID. I'm going to be seeing her today, in fact. I'm going to be hanging out with her. And she had only minor symptoms. Let's go on with the story. The data published in the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's weekly report on death and disease shows an increase in so-called breakthrough infections among fully vaccinated individuals. The CDC is relying on data from cohorts such as the LA County study to determine whether Americans need a third dose of COVID-19 vaccines to increase protection. We already know that they do. Government scientists last week laid out a strategy for booster doses beginning on September 20th, pending reviews from the USDA and the CDC. The data released on Tuesday involved more than 43,000 reported infections among LA County residents age 16 and older. Of them, 10,895, or 25.3%, occurred in fully vaccinated persons. 1,431, or 3.3%, were in partially vaccinated persons, and 71.4% were in unvaccinated individuals. All right, so this is where we're going to talk about how the vaccine protects you from getting really, really sick and getting you into the hospital. Here it comes. I'm going to compare the numbers. The vaccines did, however, protect individuals from severe cases. According to the study, 3.2% of fully vaccinated individuals who were infected with the virus were hospitalized. Just 0.05% were admitted to an intensive care unit, and 0.25% were placed on a ventilator. Among the unvaccinated who fell ill, 7.5% were hospitalized, 1.5% were admitted to an intensive care unit, and 0.5% required breathing support with a mechanical ventilator. So the numbers between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated when they get COVID is pretty dramatic. Just let you look at the numbers a little bit more before diving into the next story. So yeah, pretty much double the amount, more than double the amount of the unvaccinated ended up in the hospital, right? And well more ended up in the intensive care unit. And a factor of 10 required breathing support. The difference between being unvaccinated and vaccinated, pretty stark right there. Check out the chat. Dee Parks, did you see on Tucker Carlson, he essentially called liberals Satanists? I think he's just echoing what a lot of evangelical Christians think, in the fact that, for those of us who've been in the faith, know that, if you're not part of the team, if you're not part of the Jesus team, you have basically the spirit of the Antichrist in you. If you're not for us, you're against us kind of mentality. So I'm not surprised. I do want to look up that clip, though. Well, this is the thing, Lee, about my weight loss. I have stopped eating processed foods. It's just far easier for me just to prepare food myself. One of the benefits, of course, of not having a 9-to-5 job right now is that I can take the time and just prepare my own food. All right. I think I want a booster. Yeah, Dee. My doctor's appointment is in mid-September, and I'm hoping if I can weasel a booster shot, then I will, because it'll be about, I got my shots in March. I think I'm due. All right, what's the next story? I'm glad you asked, everyone. Oh, Florida. We're going to talk about Florida, and we're going to talk about doctors. Just basically saying, we're sick of your shit. Get your shit done. Go get vaccinated. Because you think about it, right? The doctors, the mainline, the frontline staff, they've been dealing with this shit for well over a year. And it was kind of sort of manageable until Delta, and with Delta, with people not getting vaccinated, people are flooding ICUs, especially in Florida. We've covered the story like a gazillion times. And doctors just seem to be sick of this shit going on. Check out the story. 75 doctors from Florida hospitals walk out in protest of unvaccinated patients. We are exhausted. Yeah, who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be at this point? In protest of the deluge of unvaccinated COVID-19 patients filling up area hospitals, around 75 doctors from South Florida staged a walkout on Monday to urge people to get inoculated. Early in the morning, before the start of their shifts, the doctors briefly stood outside and spoke against the high number of the high number of people in Palm Beach area who refuse to get vaccinated. We are exhausted. Our patients and resources are running low, and we need your help. Dr. Rupesh Daria from Palm Beach Internal Medicine told WFLA News. It's important to note, and we've talked about this before, is that if medical staff drop out of the field, if they're just exhausted, or if they even get sick and can't work anymore, then will there be enough new people to fill their spots? It's a realistic concern, to tell you the truth. Here's the next panel. Florida is currently dealing with the highest number of new COVID-19 infections in the state as the state shatters previous daily records. On Monday, Florida reported 21,329 new cases, and the state now has 17,215 people hospitalized with the virus, an increase of 24% over the last 14 days, according to the New York Times. Deaths totaled 228 on Monday, an 86% jump over the last 2 weeks. This time around, the variant is deadlier. It's impacting the lungs quicker. It is eating away at the lungs. It is causing more problems, and the patients are dying quicker, said, I'm just going to call Dr. Ahmed El-Haddad. All right, I think I pronounced that right, of Jupiter Medical Center told WPTV News. The doctors said that they want more Floridians to get vaccinated and prevent this rush at area hospitals. Just over half the state's population, 52%, is fully vaccinated against COVID-19. The doctors are just, I imagine, my heart goes out to them. I don't know what it's like day after day going in, watching people die from preventable diseases. And when that person dies in the ICU, another person comes to fill the bed. And this isn't like in the early days of the pandemic when we didn't know what was going on, when people are dying, and we didn't have a vaccine. All of this is preventable. Checking out the chat. Hey, MC Fractal. Yeah. Jessi Bear says, I lost about 50 pounds last year via COVID stress. See, I eat my stress, Jessi. Actually, I eat my happiness. I eat my stress. I eat boredom. I just like eating, to tell you the truth. This is my problem. I lost about 50 pounds last year via COVID stress. I need to lose about 35 of them. I've been trying to gain back some via muscle. That's good. I'm the opposite of an emotional eater. Stress makes me feel sick. Interesting. Yeah, it's just a coping mechanism I have. Scott Dugatlin. My doctor told me on Monday not to have a heart attack because the ICUs are at capacity in our county. I take heart meds. Holy fuck. I feel for you, Scott Duke. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but I am trying to level up my health right now. Like I said, I could, I'm about, I'm a bit heavier than I need to be. I did lose weight recently, like I said, but yeah, I just don't want to get sick. And because this is an interesting point, what Scott Duke just said. It isn't just the people harming themselves when they don't get vaccinated and end up in the ICU, but the rest of us who may need a bed for a non-COVID reason, right? This is the message that we're getting. Don't get sick because they're idiots in the ICU filling the beds. All right. So what do we think here, everyone? I want to make an announcement that there's an after party after show. Most of you already know this. There's an after party after show at 10 o'clock. Today, it's only going to run for half an hour. It's only going to run for half an hour from 10 to 10:30. I haven't seen a friend of mine for a while. She's my BFF, and she was actually the one who had COVID. I haven't seen her since she's had COVID. and I need to be a good friend, right? I need to be a good friend. So I'm going to be leaving, cutting the second show early at 10:30. So it's only going to be running from 10 to 10:30. That's an announcement. That's something I should have made earlier, right? One local school here announced yesterday that they're going back to virtual classes due to so many cases. Red state motherfuckers. This is why we can't have nice things. Yeah, true enough. I'm going to be seeing my daughter who's in high school this weekend, and we're going to talk about what's going on when school starts for her. A really big shoe. I know. Yeah, that's right. All right. You want to do the halftime tummy rub show, everyone? Halftime tummy rub show is where we sit back, watch another funny video before going back and looking at the news cycle. So let's do that. Oh, that's right. I'm told I should ask people to smash the like button. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe. And as you've noticed, no ads on this channel. Well, there's some ads on the early shows, right? But there's no ads, I don't know, for a while. Whether it's a Best Advice Ever episode, whether it's just an episode where I chat with Jack Materko and a guest on Monday nights at 8 p.m. There's just no ads. So we're supported by people like you, by YouTube members and by patrons. So thanks. So you have some money for a couple of shekels in. I appreciate it. Here's something funny.
There was a super fundamentalist Christian rock band, and they asked if I wanted to join, probably because my hair looked so amazing. I had this, permed mullet, in the front a wave of frosted Aussie sprunch spray, but I was missing was the jacket that everyone in the band wore. They all wore this sort of military-style jacket. So I went to Goodwill and I found a marching band jacket that I thought looked kind of similar, so I bought it. And on the back I used a bedazzler to spell the word Jesus. And I showed up at band practice, and everyone started laughing. And they said, it's supposed to be like a Soldiers for Christ theme, not like a marching band baton twirler for Jesus theme.
I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm an atheist, but I might go see a baton twirler band for Jesus. I don't know. It just seems so crazy. And I like this t-shirt, the pink triangle, everyone. This isn't going to come to any surprise to any of you that this is not, I'm anti-rainbow. I love the rainbow, right? All for the rainbow. But I'm more of a pink triangle type of guy, but that's not surprising. Checking out the chat. Tummy rub time. Kendra, good morning, Kendra. Yeah, that guy's hilarious, right, Jess M? All right. Well, my nephew went to his second year of college earlier this month. Hopefully all goes well. Hopefully. Hey. Fucking right, Hail Satan. What's up, Sammy? Thank you. I like your Anton LaVey vibe going on there. All right, so what are we doing, everyone? I feel like, I was thinking about leaving the Corgis until the very end of the show. Right, but I think I want Corgis now. I think I want Corgis right now, and I think we're going to do Corgis. Let me see if I can cue up this. Here we go. ESPN delights the masses by showing Corgi races. When ESPN first launched in 1979, it didn't exactly have the broadcast rights to America's most popular sports. Those tuning in at the birth of the All Sports Network saw a game of slow-pitch softball. And that's what it was like for ESPN during its infancy. It frequently gave its U.S. audience sports and events they'd likely never seen before. I remember those halcyon days. That obviously changed. Now the network is a behemoth with rights to some of the biggest leagues in the world, of which Corgi racing obviously does not count, but that did not stop ESPN from showing just that. recently, much to the delight of some very confused viewers. So here's we have a picture of the Corgis racing. It looks a lot more organized in this shot. I mean, most of the Corgis were able to run the race, but there's of course always that one Corgi who kind of like does whatever the fuck the Corgi wants to do. So let's see. So the first on ESPN's on August 6th, ESPN became the OCO, the fictional bonus channel of the network, seen in Dodgeball, first started in 2017. The OCO lineup is a chance for ESPN to have some fun by airing some very, very obscure sports. This year included the 2021 races at Emerald Downs in Auburn, Washington. Corgi races. If the apocalypse ever ends, I want to go see. I want to go travel and check out the Corgi races in Auburn, Washington. Here's another shot. Oh yeah, very happy creatures right there, everyone. And yeah, this film. Don't worry, I got a film here of the Corgi races. And look, this is the trophy the Corgis get. All right, so maybe this is a sign of a meltdown. I was thinking about it yesterday. The girlfriend and I were on the couch watching TV. So I think I might be having a meltdown. Because to tell you the truth, I am. The whole Trump thing, which I nailed pretty freaking specifically, right? The regular season of Trump, the 4 years, the lead up to Trump. Which I covered on the blog, Laughing in Disbelief, the 4 years of Trump, and then the election and the double death overtime after the election, and about what kind of chaos that could occur up until January 6th when the electoral ballots were counted. I feel that I hit my marks every single moment. But this whole COVID thing, I just turned to it. It's like, am I having a meltdown? I think I'm doing a show on Corgis tomorrow just so that I can just not look into the abyss constantly. And she goes, "That's a good idea, Nicole. That's a good idea." All right, let's take a look at the video of the Corgi races. Corgi races, YouTube. Woohoo! Check this shit out. I'm not going to show the whole Corgi race. That's like over 10 minutes worth, but we're going to see at least one, everyone.
Few moments away from Heat 1, and here are the runners. So we have the handlers taking their positions now. It's a two-person team plus the Corgi. Got the holders at the start line and at the finish line. They will be encouraging their Corgi to be the first one to cross the finish line. Here we go. Flag is up, and Corgi's away. Jax was off to a good start on the inside. Zoe flying now, and outlets Will-O-Wisp, and boy, it was a close finish. Let's go trackside. Here's Claire with the winner.
Oh, you guys, that was such an exciting first race. Congratulations to Willow and Lauren, the pet owner. Tell us, how are you guys preparing for this race?
Well, this toy, she never actually gets to play with it because she likes to rip it apart. So I just brought it out for this because I knew she really loves it.
And I saw here that Willow can do over 200 tricks, right? What is one of her favorite ones to do?
She loves to wave. Okay. So, Willow, let's see if we can get her. Willow, wave.
Oh, that is just perfect. Willow, you are a good little pup. And what is she looking forward to in the next race? How are you feeling about it?
I'm pretty excited.
Well, good job, Willow. Tom, back up to you.
All right, Claire, thank you.
I could watch Corgi racing for the rest of the show, everyone, but you probably can't. You probably don't want to, right? Dogs are clearly the superior floof. My money is on Buttercup of all the small things, right? All right. Simply the other day. I thought you were working today, Dave. Corgi Schmorgi, where do you draw the feline? One man's on the MC Fractal says corgis are cute, including corgi mixes, which are just corgis with a different paint job. Yeah, sure enough, we have a corgi with a different paint job down the street. We do live in a corgi deficient area. There needs to be more corgis here. All right, I think I'm caught up to the chat. The dog did not wave. You're right, Sammy Jenkins. The dog did not wave. The dog was just there, fixated on his toy. All right, John Hudson. Glad that you made it out of kindergarten. I don't even know what doing virtual kindergarten is like. I imagine it's quite an experience. Oh, Grand Farmer. Throwing down. Cats rule, dogs rule. Throwing down here. All right. We covered corgis. We covered breakthrough infections. We covered doctors in Florida doing a little walkout, telling people, hey, go get vaccinated. We're sick of your shit. And now what's the last story? Oh, the California recount. You know, this is important. This is something that may have gone under the radar for those of us even in the States, to tell you the truth. We just haven't been following what's going on. So here's what's going on in California. Apathetic voters could hand California recall to Republicans. Folks seem unaware. I know you're all shocked that apathetic Democrats could basically lose the election to really motivated Republicans. Gavin Newsom, who is the California governor, remains popular, but Democrats appear far less likely than Republicans to vote in the election. Definitely not reminiscent of any other political debacle by Democrats. Check it out. And, you know, I just want to say this, everyone. This is not a glitch of the system. This is a feature of the system. We're going to be covering this a little bit. But you see, the way how American-style capitalism punishes poor people is that it keeps them on the treadmill, right? It keeps poor people on the treadmill. And when you're always worried about food or shelter or not getting shot by the police or getting sick, when you're worried about all those things, it's difficult to actually focus on politics. So what does that mean? That means basically Republicans who are much more motivated and have typically not worried about those things because race and class here in the States is pernicious. They are more likely to vote in general. And here's another thing. Here's my own pet theory, and tell me if I'm wrong or not. The Democrats are afraid of their own base. And their base is basically progressives. They're afraid of the progressive movement because they're afraid the progressives will take over the Democratic Party. And the progressives are the ones who are really amped about winning. They just want to change. And I think the corporatist Democrats are afraid of the progressive wing of the party. Not saying anything new, microphone, I know that. But that's one of the reasons why the Democratic base is typically less motivated also. So they're the two reasons. Let's check out the story. And Gavin Newsom was first elected governor of California in 2018. He captured a greater share of the vote than any other Democrat in state history. And he has remained broadly popular, despite a global pandemic, economic catastrophe, and a scandalously ill-timed visit to the Michelin-starred restaurant, the French Laundry. This story, of course, I don't know if you remember this, there was supposed to be a lockdown or people socially distancing, and then he went to this restaurant. Poor choice. But with California's gubernatorial recall election underway, Newsom is fighting for his political life. The Democratic governor of a deep blue state could narrowly lose his seat to a fringe, right-wing radio host, in large part due to the inertia and apathy among voters. Let me just read this little slice of disaster again. The Democratic governor of a deep blue state could narrowly lose his seat to a fringe, right-wing radio host because people just aren't motivated, the base, the Democratic base. Democrats outnumber Republicans nearly 2-1 in California, but while the former are distracted and disengaged this year, the latter are riled up, political strategists and pollsters say. By voting at higher rates, Republicans could capture the governor's seat for the first time in more than 2 decades. I have to tell you something. If nothing else I do here on the channel is that, I do want you angry. I want you angry and focused on actually defending Enlightenment principles, right? Basically, in fighting against racism, fighting against oligarchy. These are things we should be jazzed up about. Only 36% of all registered voters want to oust Newsom, but that number rises to 47% when polling likely voters, and that's the only poll that really counts. The polling of likely voters. According to the poll by UC Berkeley Institute of Governmental Studies, in a recent CBS News poll found that 72% of Republican voters were very motivated to participate in the recall, while just 61% of Democrats felt the same. Newsom spent the last few months characterizing the recall effort as fringe, Republican distraction, and kicked off his no recall campaign in earnest just 1 month before the 14th September deadline to return ballots. So Newsom, and this is a typical Democrat thing too. It's like Democrats don't want to win microphone. It's like Democrats don't want to win. He first poo-pooed the recall election, and then a month away from the actual vote, he's like, oh snap, I could lose my job and I could give the governorship into the hands of the fascists. Maybe I should do something about it. No microphone. Democrats don't learn. Democrats don't learn. Okay, breathe, Andy. Now he and the Democratic Party is scrambling to mobilize voters. People, we implore you, please vote, he pleaded at a recent campaign event in LA. Newsom doesn't have to worry about the Democratic base voting for the recall, said Dan Schnurr, a politics professor who has advised Republican candidates. He has to worry about them not voting at all. He just has to worry about Democrats not voting at all in this special election. Okay, so there are so many nuances of the American voting infrastructure, right? We know about the Electoral College, obviously, right, and the chaos that can ensue due to the counting of electoral votes and how it isn't democratic. But every state is its own, or can be its own little Byzantine Rubik's Cube puzzle labyrinth. So many metaphors. Microphone, so many metaphors. And this is California's. The dynamics of the race are in part due to California's peculiar recall system. The ballot asks 2 questions. First, should the governor be recalled? And if so, who should be governor? If more than 50% vote yes on the first question, the candidate with the most votes on question 2 becomes governor. Yeah, that does sound pretty crazy, doesn't it? That means if 49.9% of voters support Newsom staying in office, he could be replaced by a candidate earning far fewer votes, such as Republican frontrunner and right-wing radio host Larry Elder, who leads the polls among replacement candidates with just 18% of support. So if the governor doesn't get 50%, over 50% of the vote in terms of whether or not he should be recalled, then the guy who only has 18% support can become governor of California. And what's California? The world's 6th largest economy. It is something ridiculously high, microphone. And he would be a right-wing radio host being in charge of that state. I can't even. Amid a still raging pandemic and devastating wildfires, many Californians are too preoccupied to pay attention, said Christian Arana, a vice president of the Latino Community Foundation. And that's especially true for the Black and Latino voters, who helped propel Democrats to power year after year. Polls suggest that white conservative voters will dominate the recall while voters of color stay home. Latino communities are still being affected by the virus, especially with a Delta variant going on. We've continued to see deaths within our community, Arana said. This recall election is just not on our mind because we're so busy dealing with the pains and traumas of this virus and its economic consequences as well. September 14th, we'll see whether or not California falls to the fascists. We'll basically see. At least I don't want to make it this overly dramatic microphone, but, the governor's office. We'll see whether or not Newsom still holds this spot. Let me check out the chat. Hey, Dr. Osiris, how you doing? Dr. Osiris, I have to tell you, I don't know if you're related to Dr. Octopus at all, Doc Ock. I saw the new Spider-Man trailer with Doc Ock in it. Tight. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Dr. Mordecai, Cassius, Marcellus Jones. There's something to that. David Paul states they need to understand most of us are progressive. We need to vote the others out. This is why it's important to go to your local elections when they do happen and vote for people who are to the left, who are progressives, who are in the Democratic Socialists of American Party, Greens, people to the left who want to defund the police, people who want responsible government, anti-fascists. Did you miss everything again? Not really. Not everything. Oh, Simply Psychedelic says its work starts at 8 and 6:30 a.m. here on the West Coast. I'm sorry, Dave. I just get stuck on Imperial time here on the East Coast. All right. Did I catch up with everyone here? John Hudson says, I plan to be going through K through 12 in terms of virtual schooling. That's good, John. That's good. All right, did I catch up? I think I caught up with everyone. Dems are wet noodles. That's a pleasant way of saying it, yes. All right. The governor may not be that great in California, but he's better than a right-wing radio talk show host as governor of California. That's what I would say, That's what I'm guessing. All right. I vote in every election I can. That's smart, Grant. That's smart. All right. So what have we covered today, everyone? What stories have we done? If you haven't seen the Corgi race, it's worth seeing. That's just one of the many important stories we covered here on the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. Talked about breakthrough infections in California. 25% of breakthrough infections in LA County. 25% of new infections, COVID infections, were breakthrough infections. Doctors in Florida telling people to get their shit together, go get vaccinated. California recall election, everyone. September 14th, we're going to keep an eye on that. That could be a comedy of political implosive errors of biblical proportions. And, we've had fun too. We've had a lot of fun. All right. You want to do something funny? You want to do something that'll put a smile on your face? This is for the history geeks out there. And, for those of you who are fans of Bo Burnham and his newest special, his newest special, Inside Jeffrey Bezos, that song, this is kind of a riff on this. But if you're into accordions, you're going to love this bit.
Eating peasants, drinking wine, born in 1509, Henry II. Eating peasants, drinking wine, born in 1509, Henry
you have to admire the dedication of that trio, so dedicated to their art and to history, being historically literate, and obviously fans of Bo Burnham's Inside. And if you haven't seen it, it is an incredible special. That's what it is. Checking out the chat one more time. It is inspiring. It is inspiring, Dr. Mordecai. And as a historical nerd, that was amazing. It was amazing, right? Totally agree. So I just want to let you all know, once again, just to go over, we're doing the after party after show at 10 a.m. It's only for a half an hour today because I've been a bad friend and I have to go do some friend stuff. So the show's going to go from 10 to 10:30 this morning. I'm going to do a thank you video to patrons and YouTube members because there are no ads here. I don't know why I'm doing finger guns, but I am. So thank you, patrons. Thank you, YouTube members. And so here's the thank you video. And I'll see you at 10 a.m. right here.